Hey folks, and welcome to Generation Next, our weekly show all about the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Now, we are just under a month out from both new consoles, well, all three new consoles. Of course, we can't forget about the Series S. So this week we're going to be talking about the fact that Sony has literally broken their silence, finally. We've got more hands-on impressions of the Series X, as well as more backwards compatibility details for all the consoles. Joining me to break down this news, I've got the PlayStation Pro, Tamoor Hussain.
Absolutely carnal for these new console lads. Carnal.
Don't like it.
Didn't like that one. You know what? Didn't like that one.
Yeah? Give some little bit of ASMR as well. With that one.
I mean, yeah, you did. I mean, I'm sure
No, don't give that to him.
there's a market for it. There's a market for it.
If anyone else wants ASMR from me, just hit me up. Let me know in the comments below. I'll send you whatever words you want.
We also have a video of Rod Ferguson doing ASMR if you're really into that.
Hi, I'm Rod Ferguson. I'm the studio head of the Coalition. We make Gears 5. And today we're going to be talking about intimate combat.
And Xbox expert Jordan remains. Alright, so little bit of a peek behind the curtain. We're recording this in two batches because Thursday morning, at the same time as the Xbox embargo, the cheeky little buggers, Sony dropped all the information about what the user experience is going to be on the PlayStation 5. Finally, we've been clamoring for this piece of information. We now know what the PS5 UI is going to look like. So they gave a pretty in-depth run through. Apparently, it is optimized for 4K, which my gaming mode on my TV is finally going to see way more action, I suppose. But Tam, do you want to walk us through some of the cool things that Sony have been showing off with regard to the PS5 UI?
Sure. So as you said, they've seemed to have cleaned it up. The broader kind of takeaway is it's cleaned up. It's been simplified, and it's also been integrated into the play experience in a more seamless way. So when they press the button which I assume is the PlayStation button, to bring up the UI, it wasn't like backing out of a menu in the way that it would on the PS4. It kind of just overlaid it, which is a nice little touch. So you get immediate access to pretty much everything you would need from the system in that button press, and that stuff like you can work on audio levels, you can access the power, you can see like controller battery levels, microphone, that kind of stuff, check data stuff, download status and that kind of business. But the important stuff is the cards that's laid out along the bottom in the control center is what they're calling it. So that's really interesting. It feels like a dynamic thing, and also feels like something that developers can program in, and it is geared towards improving and enhancing your gameplay experience. So one of the things they showed off is that you can discover new gameplay opportunities, and basically what that means is like the game will tell you like, hey, you could do this right now, or hey, you almost finished doing this, maybe you should do it, and it will take you another 10 minutes to complete this, which is a step above like the trophy tracking stuff that we asked for. It's also got like mission tracking and like gameplay timer tracking, which I'm sure will factor into like parental controls in an interesting way as well, where a parent can roll up and be like, looks like this mission should take you 15 minutes, so do this one, and then you're done.
Just this one mission before bed.
Yeah,
Look, Mom, the PlayStation says it's only going to take 10 minutes. That's actually, I mean, I never even thought of it that way. That's a really cool feature.
It's really going to be, I'm interested to see how they do it. And then like the other big thing that was impressive was they've enhanced and tweaked the party format, so you can get people together and you can chat. And the other thing you can do is like, if someone is sharing their gameplay, you can watch their gameplay picture in picture while you're playing a game, which is huge.
Well, first of all, what they've done is they've brought back Xbox's, one of my favorite ever features on Xbox, the snap. So not only can you do picture in picture, but you can also like have your friends gameplay, and also walkthroughs. They're putting walkthroughs into the PlayStation. So if you ever get stuck, there's like dynamic walkthroughs that you can pin, and they're like putting it in a really cool way.
The interesting thing is, like, I think that's fantastic. one of the things they said is like they alluded to a media tab as well, but they were like, we're not going to talk about that right now, we'll talk about that later. So that will be all the streaming video stuff. If there, I really hope there is, and it makes perfect sense that there is, the ability to launch apps, you know, picture in picture in the way that Snap was. So I want to be able to have Netflix running at the same time as the game, you know, and like maybe control the audio balance between them. I hope that's the thing that they have figured out and they are able to do, because if they do that, that's massive for us, like as people who play so many games as a service things, and also like cover movies, TV, that kind of business, and are, you know, as anyone would, being able to multitask in that way would be incredible. I'd love to be able to watch something while I'm grinding through Mementos in Persona 5 Royal.
Da 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 da, you know what I'm saying?
And then, yeah, the hints and walkthrough stuff that you mentioned can be pinned. And one of the things to keep in mind is like, it's unclear now how much of that is like executing that is reliant on developers putting it in. How much of it is like users can do it? Will they be able to, in the same way that Stadia promised, like grab any sort of like YouTube video, do it? So it kind of, and the same way for like the cards, like how long before, you know, it is very much reliant on developers putting in the extra effort. So I hope Sony is out there with a big old stick being like, if you don't do this, we're going to hit you with this stick.
That's a peddling.
But I mean, it makes sense for games like Sackboy, but can you really see Demon Souls? Because I feel like that's kind of the complete antithesis of those games. There's obviously cooperation to an extent with like leaving messages on the ground, and it has a big community online, but I wonder if for some games having hints directly within the game, also locked behind PS Plus too, which has been something that's been sticking in a lot of people's craws. Like, I mean, I guess you're not taking away the free walkthroughs that are online, but having in-game stuff locked behind PS Plus. But like a game like Demon Souls, I do wonder how much. But I mean, I guess if like
I think it'll work. Yeah, because you could like point to like maybe a really good weapon that's kind of hidden or something like that. I think it's an easier, maybe not easier, but a new way to make very difficult games possibly more approachable to new audiences. It's like, oh, here are some hints to maybe help you out and try to get to certain areas.
There's so much potential for this, especially the picture-in-picture stuff. Like, I'd like the idea of like you playing a game and then someone being like, I'm really stuck in this Demon Souls moment, and just hit a button and it pops up their feed, and you can be like, take the next left, watch out for the enemy over there and the weapon you need. But also like,
I was gonna say, that's what I'll be doing when I play. I will just be dialing you in.
But what does that mean for multiplayer games? Like, if you're in the middle of a multiplayer game and someone else in your party's dead, does that lead to like cheating, where you're like, just share your screen so I can see what you see? And like, if someone's in like a death cam mode, like roaming around, like the enemy's here, and you can like look in the corner of your screen and like pinpoint accuracy in a way that developers probably didn't intend for. What does that mean?
Stream sniping from within the
stream sniping from within the PlayStation. Unreal.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I'm about to start playing Apex Legends on PS5.
But no, I mean, like, other cool things that they mentioned. So, like, we've talked about this at length, but like right now, getting screenshots from the PS4 is a real struggle. Like, mine really chugs. The way that they were walking through doing it on PS5, it just seemed so quick and easy, and you can immediately review them. And if you send it to someone who you're in a party with, because parties have been really beefed up, and they're more like message threads or like Discords, I guess now. If you send it to someone and that person isn't at that point in the game, it'll mark it as a spoiler for them, and it won't show it to them, which is so good. Like, what a real cool quality of life thing. But also, one final thing I'll definitely shout out is that the DualSense does text to speech, and it's hopefully like it does it really well. I just hope that if I'm using a controller, this is my phone, I don't have a DualSense, but like, it doesn't make me do that thing where it's like, oh, maybe you want to use your thing like this to put text in.
I'm excited for that, because one thing I've started doing recently is replying to text using my watch, Apple Watch, which is really handy, and it's surprisingly accurate. So I'm excited for doing that, but I'm also excited for like replying or like just sending messages of me screaming after being killed. Like, and I do imagine like how the, you know, the rages online How quick, the moment
Outrageous.
you kill someone on an online multiplayer and it's like a 10-year-old kid, within a minute they're going to send you a message being like, just full of swear words. Now it's going to be even quicker. Like, you're going to get that message within seconds. There's going to be a 5-year-old cussing out your entire family and threatening to kill you within moments. Love to see it.
Well, but we should probably talk briefly just about the little pebbles that started this avalanche of PS5 news, and that was the Burger King himself.
Crumbs
That started this whopper of news week.
Wow. I mean,
Wow, you really
that
stretched
works.
for that one.
I don't go to Burger King, but it does work. So a few days ago, they released this little teaser trailer on Twitter of what was everyone assumes is we now know it's the PS5 startup sound, and then they had a date, 10/15 US, so backwards, for Thursday.
No.
It's not backwards.
Don't
You
do
are
it.
backwards.
Don't do it. You're outnumbered
Not
here.
backwards.
Don't do it.
Thursday the 15th of October. And so we knew that there would be this competition, but I guess people were hoping and dreaming that there would be some kind of news drop on the 15th, and it was. So we've seen the UI, we know what the sound effect sounds like, but also there is a Burger King the BK Sweepstakes. You can win 1,000. Well, you can't win 1,000 consoles. There are 1,000 to
One person will win 1,000 console.
Welcome to my throne of PlayStation 5s. Also game codes for Demon Souls and Sackboy, as well as PS Now codes, which is good because if you don't have a PlayStation, you can still use that on your PC. But also, another little look, courtesy of Burger King, my lord.
The Burger Lord.
The Burger Lord. Got a look at the box. What's in the bags? Well, we know it's a PlayStation, but you have all these people hugging the box. So
Did they say whether you have to do that in store?
no, you could do it via the app, but you just have to make a purchase. Jordan, are you gonna? Because I know you haven't managed to get your PS5 yet. Are you gonna?
Yeah,
enter?
because apparently Burger King just is hoarding all of them. That's why I couldn't just secure.
You know what they
pre-order.
say? The Burger Lord giveth and the Burger Lord taketh away.
What does he giveth? Burgers.
Burgers.
Yeah, burgers and PlayStations. That's why he's the Burger Lord.
Xbox have announced a bunch of improvements that they're going to be making to backwards compatibility. Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, so they basically listed all of the improvements that are going to happen to your older games, the Xbox One, 360, original Xbox games when they're played on Series X. It's like auto HDR, so like if the game ships without HDR enhancements, it's going to kind of still get that improvement. Like, the game is still going to look really good, so if all those like rumors of a Mass Effect Legendary edition are fake, I'll still be able to play Mass Effect in like its most brilliant form on Xbox Series X.
That high dynamic range.
Oh, it'll be beautiful. It'll look so good. All those elevator rides, but regardless of reductions in load times, double the frame rates. They used Fallout 4 as an example, like enhanced visuals. Basically, whatever older game that you're playing on Series X, it's going to look better. Like,
What was that game that Jeff Keighley kept playing?
Blinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, it got mentioned in a blog post somewhere, and I was like, God damn it, is that why he was playing that particular old game?
I mean, Blinks is an Xbox meme, so I'm not surprised that Keeley's on it. Meme Lord Jeff Keighley.
Wow, going from one meme lord to another.
Oh.
But in terms of actually, listing out how backwards compatibility works on Xbox, they've made it super bloody easy. Jordan, you want to tell us?
I was about to say, yeah, it's like if you have it on disc, you put the disc in and it will play and it will look really pretty. And if you don't have the disc but you have the digital copy, you just download it again and you can just play it. Like, if you have the game, it's going to be really easy to access. You don't have to jump through any hoops to play your old library of games.
And Tam, I'll come to you for PlayStation, because they also revealed their backwards compatibility kind of FAQ. Similarly to Xbox, it seems like it's going to be pretty easy, but there are a number of caveats to do with certain games, but I'll let you talk us through it.
Yeah, so it's all fairly simple, and the caveats aren't generally like negative caveats. For the most part, the Sony stuff is great news. I'm really excited to see both Microsoft and Sony taking backwards compatibility very seriously this time around, at least for the last gen of games. So, as previously messaged, more than 99% of PS4 games will be playable on PS5. There's actually like a very small handful of games that aren't playable, and if these are games that you care about, I'm very sorry, but I am like not shedding any tears for any of these.
I was gonna go pro in Hitman Go Definitive Edition.
You were giving me so much crap before this.
So the games we're gonna quickly rattle them off because there's not that many. Is DWVR. I ain't got a clue what that is. Like, I assume it's DW from the hit animated show Arthur in VR. Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of Kuma Volume 1. Did Volume 2 ever come out? Who knows? It's a mystery. TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 2. Don't put a
Ride
game
on the Edge
called
to what?
Yeah, don't put a game called Isle of Man Ride on the Edge together. Just don't do it. Deal with it. I will. Shadow Complex Remastered. Robinson The Journey. We Sing Hitman Go, my favorite fruit. Shorden's Joe's Diner. That's it. I don't know, like, that's fine. So digital games will work on PS5. When you sign up, they say you'll be able to automatically see your library there. I assume
So the official Sony.
No, that's my one.
Okay.
That's what I've called it. I assume when you sign in as well, it's the same. All your games that you own digitally will just pop up. And they've said like select games will see increased loading speed, better frame rate, and some of them will have like game boosting to improve that frame rate, but not everything. Select PS4 games will have that. So some games will also take advantage of the PS5's new UX features. VR support is included for a bunch of games. Remote play from PS4 to PS5 and PS Now streaming is supported, but PS4 game streaming doesn't use the game boost. So if you have a game that presumably takes advantage of game boost and try streaming it for PS Now on PS5, it won't use that. Save transfers, fairly simple. The digital games, digital game data, and game saves from PS4 to PS5 can be moved over using a LAN cable, Wi-Fi, or if you've got it on a USB device. And then you can also sync PS4 saves through cloud storage, which is excellent, fantastic. And then specifically they call out for Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. When players decide to upgrade from PS4 to PS5, their game saves will transfer over. Sackboy: A Big Adventure will also support game save transfers from PS4 to PS5 in an update that will be delivered shortly after, excuse me while I burp, the release of the game. So Sony basically said it's all good, but then explained everything in nitty-gritty in a way that couldn't seem quite scary. But for the most large majority of people, chances are this is exactly what you want. Your games are going to be playable, your saves will transfer over some way or the other, and there's methods to upgrade from disc to, to when you get a new PS5 disc version or digital to digital.
I was about to say, like, isn't it so nice that for like the first time both Xbox and PlayStation are handling backwards compatibility like relatively easily? Like, there's really no fuss this time around. We're just going to be able to play all of our old games super easy. I love it. I don't have to get rid of anything.
Well, the only fuss will come is if you have a load of PlayStation 4 discs and you get the PS5 digital edition.
Yeah.
Because obviously you need your disc.
Honestly,
that's just a poor decision on your part.
That's just you. If you have done that not knowing, shout out to you. I don't know how you pull that off.
All right, so we've had another embargo lift, the final preview of the Xbox Series X. So ordinarily we would have Michael Haim on to answer all your burning questions, but he is understandably just chin deep in Xbox coverage right now. So we've taken his preview. He's got it written up on site. He has a separate video which came out yesterday. We'll link it if you want to go see his in-depth final impressions of the Series X. If you have any questions for him, let us know. We'll get him on hopefully next week. But also, let's just list out some of the very, very interesting takeaways from his final hands-on preview. So one big thing that people were questioning is how hot does the Series X get? Apparently,
Very.
quite hot.
Very.
Quite hot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot.
That's hot.
That's unsurprising. Like, I don't think anyone expected it to be like cool the entire time, given how powerful the hardware is in there and how much hard work is putting in. I think the big takeaway is, yes, it's going to get hot, so you need to be more mindful than ever of your ventilation space.
Yeah, I've been talking with people about that who are already a bit concerned about where their Xboxes are going to go. But Jordan, let's talk briefly, because a little tangent based on what Sony's doing. So obviously the PS5 is massive. But it's because of the fan. So when we saw it in the teardown video, that fan.
That fat fan.
Fat fan. That's what I wrote it down in my note.
Only fans. That's all I got. There's no
good.
more
Honestly,
to that.
honestly,
There's
it's
no
good.
more to that.
I didn't know how to follow it up.
No, there
It
is
was
nothing.
perfect. It was peak.
We were talking last week about how big the PlayStation 5 is, and it turns out that the size of the console is because of that big, thick, fat fan. So speaking to Nikkei's X-Tech, which is a Japanese publication, we have Otori Yasuhiro, head of PS5's mechanical and thermal design team, explained that it was possible to develop the PlayStation 5 to be smaller. One of the examples they gave was implement 2 cooling fans, one for side A and one for side B. If they had done that, the PS5 would have been much smaller, but there would be an additional cost. So technically, yeah, that makes sense. 1 fan is cooler than 2, and so you just have to kind of deal with a much bigger console. So that was translated by Video Games Chronicle. I want to give them the props for that. But it's very interesting to see that, like, I don't know, I didn't realize that heat was going to be such a big talking point this gen. Did you?
I think I mean, I don't think it was. We could have predicted it, but like, I'm glad it is, because that's a big part of keeping. That's one of my big worries for consoles generally, is like, how do they over time, degrade, and going the extra mile early on to ensure that cooling is a major part of its architecture. It just gives me a little more confidence that, 4 years into the life cycle of a PS5, I won't be needing to buy a new one because the fan is buggered, or like the vents are all clogged up and I need to open it up. At least that's the hope. Who knows? But yeah, I'm glad that cooling is a big topic of discussion right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Sony, Microsoft, make your consoles, like, I won't say as big as you want. I live in a small apartment. I have limited space. But if you have to make your consoles a lot bigger in order to include a larger fan to keep it cool and hopefully quiet-ish.
Whisper quiet.
Like, that's all I want. Like, I'm using my PS4 Pro and, like, I have really big hair. Headphones are not, like, an option for me. And so please, as long as the console is quiet, I don't care if you create these giant obelisks of consoles. I'll find space for it. I will. Just as long as the fan runs quiet.
Speaking of obelisks, did you see that in Microsoft Flight Simulator they've put a Series X in?
Oh, yeah?
And people, you can fly past the Series X.
A fan did that, not Microsoft
Oh,
specifically.
it wasn't Microsoft.
It was like a fan made, so that's even better.
Yeah.
But it's massive.
It's huge. All right, another takeaway from Michael's preview. Let's talk about Quick Resume. So obviously at that first embargo we got to see Quick Resume in action. He had something like 5 or 6 games running at once. That was just hopping between them all. One really bloody cool thing that he can now talk about is that even if you unplug your console, Quick Resume still works.
I don't know how, but that's so cool that it does that. That's like magic.
And
Yeah.
How does it remember?
I don't know, but given, I mean, I don't know about where you guys live, but right now we've been getting a lot of power outages. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think like I guess it kind of works somewhat like the system restore on a PC, where it's actively making kind of like restore points and that kind of stuff. But the fact that it's doing stuff around that is so cool, especially like Lucy said, with things like power cuts being a worry, and family members who might just suddenly accidentally unplug it. And by family members, I mean like cats and stuff, or dogs, or whatever it may be.
Oh, or disgruntled partners,
Yeah. If you have a partner who's just like, enough gaming, and they rip the cord out, you can just look at them and go, you think you can hurt me?
You can
No, this is
Think
quick
that will stop
resume.
me?
Yeah, you think that? All you've done is create a save restore point for me. Also, we're breaking up. Get out.
You can't pause a multiplayer game. I told you. Anyway, so that's another really cool feature. Also, Jordan, you want to talk to us about load times? Because we saw at that first embargo, we actually have a video of it up on GameSpot of load times on games like Red Dead 2, Final Fantasy, and the Outer Worlds.
Yes, worlds.
Yeah, Worlds. Still confused by the two of them.
Well, are you in a big time rush?
Outer Worlds. And you get to see the improvement with those games running on Series X, but they were obviously running on the internal hard drive. Now we've got details about stuff that's running on external.
I would say I'm basically going to just quote from Michael here because he can explain this way better than I can. But like, so essentially just in terms of like data and loading, so Michael tested using a Samsung T5 external SSD and a USB 3.1 cable, and the results were good. Like, so the Outer Worlds is a 45 gigabyte game, and it took 2 minutes 54 seconds to move it to the external SSD. Like, that's incredibly fast. You can't do that on Xbox One X right now. You can't do it. That's yeah. And when loading the same save as previous tests, it only took 13 seconds, which is extremely close to internal SSD speeds.
Yeah, so originally it was loading on Xbox One X, it was 43 seconds, Series X, 11 seconds, and so on the internal SSD. So on the external, for it to only be 13 seconds, 2 seconds difference. Like, I was really worried it was going to be a very, very noticeable difference, but that is so negligible that's super impressive.
It's like, that's not even enough time to like do a quick doom scroll through Twitter or something like that. Like,
Is that the official new measurement?
yeah, that's what I use. A doom scroll, quick doom scroll.
Yeah, I mean, like that's gonna be like those transfer speeds are gonna be just work wonders for people's mental health over the next generation.
Just saving us all from Twitter.com.
They're opening Twitter and being like, God damn it, and I'm putting it down again. And I think like the important thing is the reason why that works is because it is still using the power of the NVMe SSD on the Xbox Series X. You're either taking away from it or putting onto it. So there's some, one part of that pipeline is incredibly fast still, even if the other part is like not as matched. So having that internal SSD paying off yet again.
To wrap up, let's discuss UI. So this actually links into Xbox One and PS4 a little bit because both consoles are getting big system updates this week. So Xbox One, the UI update is coming to kind of bring it more in line with what the Series X UI is going to look like. And per Michael's preview, he says that it doesn't actually look that much different. The main difference is that it's much easier to navigate. Thank God. Look. It's not great. Or it wasn't. It used to be really bad. It's definitely had improvements, and so I'm excited to see what this new one is like. The main takeaway that Michael said is that the boot up is super quick. And honestly, already on my One X, it's already quick, so I'm very excited to see that. I've got a video up right now, but if you have a One or One X or a One S, you should be able to get that update this week. So as I said earlier, if you have questions for Michael about the Series X, make sure to drop them in the comments. We'll ask him very nicely next week. Tam, where can people find you?
You find me on Twitter, Tamoor H, tweeting about the Burger Lord and PS5. Yeah.
Jordan, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at JMRemay, getting excited for that Apex Legends Season 7 and seeing that Mass Effect rumors are coming back up again. Getting to November, getting to that N7 day. It's time to get hyped once more.
Oh, it's like the bit from Futurama. It was like, you raised my hopes and crushed them quite spectacularly. So that's me every N7 day. I'm on Twitter at LeastJamesGames, tweeting about just bad jokes, probably. We'll see you next week. And Tam, I'll come to you for PlayStation because they also revealed their backwards compatibility kind of FAQ. Similarly to Xbox, it seems like it's going to be pretty easy, but there are a number of caveats to do with certain games, but I'll let you talk us through it.
Of that.
Please don't.
Have some of that.
I thought that I messed up and that I'd done the throw really badly because you just went,
I thought you were about to like exclaim and talk about something like really important or bad. I'm like, I don't think the PS5 like backwards compatibility is like worthy of a rant or anything.
No, I think